Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Everyday Ease with Chianti Lomax, a show where we share weekly tips for peace and productivity as a pathway to happiness. Because I believe that freedom and happiness looks good on you. I am your host, Chianti Lomax, certified coach and transformation strategist. I help high-powered women and some men move from overwhelm to ease through self-leadership practices and liberation strategy. So if this is your first time here, let me just give you a quick tidbit about myself. After 15 plus years of helping Fortune 500 companies and federal government agencies transform their people, their processes, and technology, my goal is to help women and men like you transform the relationships you have with yourself, your families, and your careers or businesses. So another part of my mission is to make positive psychology research accessible to the everyday person. And I believe that all of you and me deserve to have more joy, more clarity, and of course, more freedom in your life. Again, if this is your first time joining me, we just wrapped up a series called Break Up with Busy, where we discuss ways to kick stress and exhaustion as a way of life to the curb. This week, I am super excited to have you back so that we could talk about one of my favorite things. Let's see, before I get started, I want to see who we have in the chat. Yes, hashtag
as a way
some
of
men.
life to the
Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yes, hashtag some men. Um, so this week we're gonna talk about one of my favorite topics, and I talk about this all the time in my group circle, and also I'm gonna be talking about it in my upcoming book that we have coming out in spring of 2024. So here's why. So in a world where loneliness and burnout are all too common, I'm a huge advocate of creating and maintaining meaningful connections, okay? Whether you're looking to boost your social life, maybe you've been kind of antisocial since the pandemic and you're looking for a way to boost your social life, or you're looking for ways to advance in your career or grow your business, or maybe you just need a deeper sense of community. I want to share with you my strategies, my signature strategies for building a high value circle. All right. So let's get into it. All right. So cultivating your high value circle is vital to support you in unlocking your most successful fourth quarter or even to jumpstart your 2024. Having these high powered connections and support systems are going to help you to create those life leaps that you have been waiting for. And I know this personally. But before I get started, I want to see who's in the chat. We have Afu in the chat. Yes, Afu, some men. But to people who are listening, or if you are checking in on the replay, I want to ask you one question. Who in your life are you grateful for? So this could be a colleague. It could be one of your team members that you have in your own company. It could be a friend, a parent, a child. So who in your current circle, in your current life, are you grateful for? And drop that in the comments just so that we can start thinking about the people that are surrounding us or the people who are in our lives. So the question for today's session that we want to kick off with is, who in your life are you grateful for? All right. So while you think about that, I'm going to keep this ball rolling. All right. So today's topic, if I must admit, is one of my personal secrets, like my secret weapon for having my most productive, successful, and ease-filled years of my life. Okay, so my high value connections, or my own high value circle, has created so much positive accountability that it's really allowed me to have leaps and bounds, and it shifted the trajectory of who I am as a woman, of as a professional, and even as a business owner. This includes mentors, this includes friends, people that I've gone to church with, professional affiliations, groups that I joined, okay? And here's a fact. So here's a nerdy fact. You know, I have to give you at least one nerdy fact from psychology or positive psychology. According to psychologist David McClellan, the people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or failure in life. Let me say that again. According to psychologist David McClellan, the people you habitually associate with determine as much as 95% of your success or your failure. That's crazy, right? So basically, I mean, it really resonates with that old saying that people say, especially in the South, birds of a feather flock together, but they also determine your weather. Okay, so 95%, these people that you are with all the time will determine your success or your failure. So it's something to think about, and it shows you the importance of choosing wisely. Another truth is that the people who you frequently spend your time with will heavily influence the daily decisions you make and how you show up in various areas of your life. It's an unfortunate truth. So when you think about your circle, or as I like to call it, my high value connections, those relationships that you have, these relationships or connections can either be assets or liabilities. But if you have high value, high qualified, if you have meaningful connections, they tend to be the assets of your life. And those other connections, not so much. Those are what I consider liabilities, okay? So high value connections are the people who will help you, that will help stretch you. They will help you to grow in the various areas of your life. You want to ensure that these are connections that will help you elevate in your life. This means mentally, this means emotionally, this means spiritually, physically, with your wellness, even financially. Those are the people. High value connections are the folks who help you to move forward in your life, who help to hold you accountable, who help to really help you and challenge you to become the most fully expressed version of yourself. And most of you know that if you've been hanging out with me for a little bit, either through Instagram or you're on my email list, you know that I call my circle, my high value circle has a name. I call them my presidential cabinet, and they know who they are. So these are my trusted advisors. A few of them are my closest friends from childhood. Some of them I went to college with. Some of them I met throughout my career. But these are folks that I vent to. They hold my most confidential secrets. But they also hold me accountable to my goals. And oftentimes they inspire me to be the best version of myself, because sometimes we forget ourselves. Sometimes we might lose our way, and you need people. You need people that will pull you back to yourself, to the most fully expressed version of yourself. And that is what my presidential cabinet does for me. So because of my presidential cabinet, I've been able to do some very unfathomable things that I was like, I never thought I could do, because they have pushed me. They tell me, they keep me motivated and inspiring me. So some examples, just so that we put pen to paper, we make this really practical. Things that I've been able to do with my high value circle because of my presidential cabinet are I relaunched my group coaching program at the end of last year. It was rough, but my cabinet played a major role in pulling me back together like Humpty Dumpty. Okay. Another thing I've been able to do because of my high value circle or my presidential cabinet is expand my brand visuals. I talked about this a little last year if you were a part of one of my master classes. What you're seeing today the intro with the music and the timer, the microphone, the setup, the lighting, this elevation of my brand is because of one of my cabinet members challenged me to invest and basically said, step your game up. You know who you are. People need to know who you are. And I am so appreciative because look at it. Hey, it's a vibe. Another thing I've been able to do because I have been intentional about my connections and my high value circle is write my very first book. Y'all. I mean, this 2 to 3 year process, everywhere from pitching the book, drafting the book proposal, going to major publishing companies, all of that is because I had a dedicated agent and a team that helped me to get there. And we're going to talk about that book in a little bit, in a couple months, maybe 1 or 2, okay? But literally having people to push you, whether it's personal or professional, someone that you have paid to push you. And we're going to get into specifics on how to create a high value circle in a moment. Literally, I've been able to do a lot of things that I never thought I'd be able to do because of my high value circle. And the last thing, but not least, because of my presidential cabinet or people in my high value circle, I recommitted myself to my wellness journey. So if you've known me for at least a decade, then you know I was a yoga, Zumba having individuals, like not playing any games about my physical fitness, my nutrition. And so I'm making that commitment to get back into it. I'm not going to teach no Zumba. But I've started back, with a wellness routine that makes sense for my life and my everyday. I mean, it has caused me to rejoin the 5 a.m. club, which I'm not always happy about. But it's a necessary evil to get me back where I want to be. And so I thank people in my life for pushing me to be the healthiest version of myself. So when you're ready to step into the most fully expressed version of yourself, you have to ensure that the people around you are assets and not liabilities. High value connections are assets and not liabilities. Now let's get into this thing, okay? I know some of you might be thinking, well, this sounds a bit transactional, right? But it's actually not. Like, someone can be an asset from a spiritual perspective. A lot of people have a church friend that you connect with on Sundays, that you might go to brunch with afterwards. Maybe y'all dissect the sermon. Maybe you share a few life lessons and values and insights based on the sermon. That's an asset to your soul. That's an asset to your spirit. And I consider that kind of friend a high value connection. And so at this point, you might be sitting nodding your head like, okay, this makes a little sense. But you're probably wondering, so how do I make this happen? How can I ensure that my own circle is filled with high value connections? And I want to talk about that right now. So let's get into it. So the first thing that I like to do this actually at least once a year. More than that, at least twice a year if I'm good about it, right? I want to show you how to do a circle audit. So if you haven't already, if you're listening to the replay, go grab a piece of paper in your journal or open up a new note on your phone or whatever device you're using to watch this, okay? We are about to talk about how you can create your high value circle. And if you're just joining, I am Chianti Lomax, certified coach and transformation strategist. And today on Everyday Ease, we are talking about how to make sure that you have a high value circle, all right? The first thing we want to talk about is doing a circle audit. And here's how a circle audit works, right? So the first thing you want to do is write down a list of the people that you are currently spending the most time with, all right? So to do your circle audit, write down a list of all the people throughout the week, every single day throughout the week, or even on a monthly basis that you are spending the bulk of your time with. That's the first step. The second step is to take a close look at each connection and take them through a high value audit. It's getting real nerdy and technical, but I'm telling you, this works. So even if you can't sit and do it right now, I want you to capture the steps down so that on your own time, when you have time to think and you can concentrate and you don't have to be multitasking. If you were here a week or two ago, then you know what I'm talking about, because multitasking is not a real thing, okay? So write down these steps so that you can do your own audit on your circle, all right? So the first step, write your list of people down. And the next step is we're going to take these list of people through a high value audit. Here's how you do the audit, okay? The first question you want to ask when you look at your list of people that you spend time with is, does this connection feel like an energy gain or an energy drain? And you just simply write yes or no, okay? So this is the second step of the high value circle audit. And you are looking at your connections and you are asking yourself, does this feel like an energy gain or an energy drain? All right. The second step in your circle audit, right? And we're trying to determine if you have high value connections in your circle. That can be mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, right? Financial, professional. The second question you want to ask is, does this person spend most of our time together complaining and then do nothing about it? So here's the thing. There is one thing to be a shoulder to cry on or to be a support system for your friends. But if every time this person calls you or you spend time together, they are complaining and not making any changes, that is not a high value connection. I ain't trying to tell you to dump no friends. I'm just trying to tell you to be mindful of your circle. Okay? All right. The next thing you want to do when you are doing a high value audit on your circle is, do I look forward to spending time with this person? Yes or no? All right. Do you look forward to spending time with this person? Yes or no? And you are going to take these questions and go through each person on your list. All right. The next question is, do I feel discouraged or inspired after I leave a conversation with this person? Yes or no? I'm not going to tell my business, but you ever get a phone call from somebody, every time they call you, you are just mentally exhausted after the phone call? That's not a high value connection. And listen, we'll talk about that later, but that is not a high value connection. So after you go through those couple of questions, one more question. Does this connection feel like an asset or a liability to the life that you are hoping to create for yourself? That is the last thing. Does this connection feel like an asset to the life that you're hoping to create for yourself? And then the last question is, do they make the cut? Do you think this person is a high value connection? Listen, this is the best activity to do when you are by yourself or you have privacy. And after you are able to ask yourself those questions about each person on your list, I know you're like, am I just like walking around putting people on the chopping block? Here's the thing. You don't have to necessarily cut people off, because some people, they are relatives and you can't necessarily cut off a relative. However, it just informs you on how much time you should be investing and spending with this connection. This could be a family member. If all the answers to the questions were no, you might want to reevaluate how much time you spend with this person. And it's just a reality. You don't have to cut them off completely, but just consider your time. Y'all know, I believe that two of your most valuable assets that you have as an individual are your time and your energy. And if they are draining either one of those things, you need to reconsider, Okay. All right. So if you're just joining the show, again, I am your host, Chianti Lomax, certified coach and transformation strategist. I help high powered women and some men move from overwhelm to ease through self-leadership practices and liberation strategy. Today we're talking about my secret weapon for creating the most productive and ease-filled days and years and months of your life, including this year. As I just talked about earlier, check out the replay. I told you guys about how my personal high value circle, or as I like to call them, my presidential cabinet, has really helped to shift the trajectory of my life. All right, so let's just jump right back into this thing. So we were talking about ways to do an audit of your current circle of the people that you are currently spending the most time with, right? So listen, I know it's not easy to part ways with folks who have been in your life for a long time. Some of you are like, but I've been friends with them since 7th grade, or I've been friends with them since high school. I understand that. But what you need to understand is the distance between your success, your happiness, your joy, your peace of mind, or even how far you will go in life can be predicted by the company that you keep. Let me say that again. The distance between your success, your happiness, your peace of mind, and how far you can really go in life is predicted by the company that you keep. I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know, okay? Personally and professionally. So now that we did some subtracting, right? We talked about how we get rid of these folks, or at least spend less time with these people, right? It's time to talk about, well, what about people that I need to add to my circle? You told me who I might need to get rid of, but what about when I want to add some people to my circle? How do I add more high value connections to my circle? And I want to walk you through a few things that you can do if you're looking to add more value. So I want you to write down the characteristics of people who you should add to your circle. So here are 5 things that every high value circle should include. All right. So the first thing is you want to add people who bring you energy, ease, and joy into your life consistency. These are the 5 things, or 5 things to consider as you're adding people to your circle. Do they bring me ease? Do they bring me joy? Do they bring me peace? You want to add those kind of people to your circle. Another thing you want to think about is, do they bring you wealth into your life? And not just money. This could be job leads. This could be client leads, networking opportunities, investment ideas, or mindset breakthroughs, right? Do these people help me to create wealth in my life, either through career wealth, business wealth, networking opportunities? Do they connect me with ideas or just ways to elevate my life financially? It's a real thing. The third thing that you should consider when you're adding more people to your circle and you're trying to create a high value circle is, do they bring emotional wealth into your life? So do they inspire you to take care of yourself? Do they motivate you? Do they make you have a head back, holla, and laugh? Do they make you laugh? Do they bring you joy? Do these people bring you emotional wealth? So think about that as you're considering adding more people into your high value circle. And finally, people that can give and receive mutual respect and support. So in other words, you add something dope to them and they can add something dope to you. So it's a person that you can operate from a place of reciprocity with. Give and receive, not just take. You want to not include takers. You want to have people who you have a reciprocal connection with, where you are adding something to their lives and they're adding something to your life. It does not have to be something physical or financial. It could be something emotional support, spiritual support, mental support. Those are the types of things you want to consider as you are adding high value connections to your circle. All right. And here's something else you want to know. So your high value connections might look different in different areas of your life. So remember, I talked about the 5 things you need to think about. Here are different areas of your life, or different types of people that you can add to the different areas of your life. All right. So the first area is your spiritual wellness. So if you are needing more, just more something in your spiritual wellness, you might want to consider joining a discipleship group at your church, or a study group at your mosque, or you might want to just join a yoga studio if that's your thing. Think about ways or environments you can place yourself in where you can meet the type of people that will add value to your spiritual wellness or spiritual experience. All right. So, what we're walking through now is, if I am lacking something in my life or in this area of wellness of my life, or, just the area of my life, where can I go? Who are the type of people that I should tap into? So we just talked about your spiritual wellness. For your physical wellness, you might want to find, and remember, these aren't just personal connections. These could be professional connections. So for your physical wellness, you might want to find a nutritionist or a dietitian. You might want to find your fit friend, your friend that's super into physical fitness or wellness, and create an accountability. You might also want to maybe join a gym that is super motivational and inspirational. You could even find a personal trainer if that's what you need. If you need one-on-one attention, that's one connection you probably should add to your circle, right? And when I think about circle, I'm not just talking about friends. I'm literally talking about a high value circle, well-rounded, that can lift you and elevate you personally, professionally, and in your business. Okay. Next, if you are looking or seeking professional development or growth, you might want to find a mentor, or maybe just find an accountability partner. And one of your larger communities that you belong to. Say you belong to a Facebook group, and you can literally just, sometimes in those Facebook groups, you can reach out and say, hey, I need an accountability partner for XYZ. Anyone interested? We can meet every Friday. That helps, right? And you both can agree to go to like conferences together, or retreats together, or even just have coffee on Fridays. I got Italian coffee somewhere, somehow. Y'all know how I feel about coffee. But the goal is just to start branching out of your normal environment and starting to find fresh new connections if that's what you are in need of. Because some of us get so comfortable. We get so comfortable with just the people that we have, and we're complaining about how nothing's changing. I don't have access. I don't. But you're not looking outward. You're not trying to do anything different. And here are some ways that you could do something different. Here are ways that you could potentially find people who are interested in the levels of growth and in the areas of growth that you are into. And you want to keep this in mind. The idea is to get creative with how you find and how you build these connections. You need to support you on this journey. And you need to find the connections that will help you to get farther faster. That's one of my favorite quotes that I've ever heard is, people need people to get farther faster. You cannot do this alone. I know you think you can. It's not realistic, okay? We all need somebody. That's from a movie, and I can't. If you know what movie that's from, let me know in the comments. We need somebody. You need somebody. So let's keep going. We've talked about doing your audit. We talked about the 5 things you should consider as you're adding people. We talked about the various ways that you can tap into new networks or new connections to add to your high value circle. And what else can we do? I want to talk about just 4 more practical ways to cultivate your own circle, right? So if you're just joining, welcome. Today we're talking about how do you create your own high value circle. And I want to give a shout out to one of my colleagues, Tahira. What's up? Thanks for joining Everyday Ease. If you want to catch the replay, it's on YouTube, or on LinkedIn. You could catch the ways or the strategies to do the audit and also the 5 things you should look into. But I want to talk about how else can I continue to consider creating or cultivating my high value circle. Again, here is how you can start to think about connecting your needs with who you need in your circle. So if you are feeling unbalanced in different areas of life, you want to think about, what do I want support with? And then who can I potentially get this support from? So for example, I want support if this is your thing, and this isn't a personal thing, but if you say, I want support with overcoming childhood traumas, right? You can potentially get support from a therapist who specializes in it, a therapy group, or other support groups that will help you to overcome that thing. Let's say your example is, well, I know I need support with accountability for my goals. You can join an accountability group. You can get a life coach or a goals coach. There's just different ways that you can access or meet the needs that you have as you're continuing to create the life that you want and deserve. All right. So I would say, do a support review. That's what we were talking about. So who I need support from. Another thing is join a community. Reconnect with connections that you have. So if let's say you're like, you know what, I used to really be connected with a lot of people, or with a few people that were pushing me forward, that I really enjoyed, but I just lost touch. Maybe the pandemic happened and you lost touch. So my homework to you is, think about the people that you haven't spoken to in a while. And beside their name, think about, one, what do you want to connect with them around? 2, how can you add value to their life? Because this isn't just about you, it's about reciprocity. And 3, when are you going to reach out to them? All right. So that's the last part that I want to cover today is, do a support review. What do you need support with? Who could you potentially reach out to? Join a community, and then reconnect with connections or high value connections that you've had in the past. All right. So as you are working through all the things that we covered today, I want you to take a final look and say, based on all these things that we talked about in today's episode about high value connections, what is going to be my approach for creating my own presidential cabinet? And if you were here earlier, then you know that a presidential cabinet is a group of people that are trusted advisors for your life, personally, professionally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, even through your wellness. How do you create your own? And if you have time to write that down, share it with me in the comments, because I'm curious to hear what you came up with, okay? So I want to close out. I feel like I've gone longer than I usually go, but I'm really passionate about having meaningful connections, creating meaningful connections, and maintaining these meaningful connections, because to create the life of your wildest dreams is going to require a reliable and high value support system. I know this personally. I can tell you this personally. So I hope you spend some time tonight or over the weekend on how you can better support yourself in your personal goals, your professional goals, or if you're an entrepreneur, in your business goals. Remember to audit your circle. Think about what you need and who could help you to get there. Think about how you can add value to their life. Because remember, the distance between the highest version of yourself and the life you wish to create is predicted by the company that you keep. Okay? Thank you so much for joining this super long episode of Everyday Ease today. I'm your host, Chianti Lomax, certified coach and transformation strategist. I help high-powered women and some men move from overwhelm to ease with self-leadership practices and liberation strategy. If you found this helpful, share the show with at least one person who might find it valuable. If you want to find ways to work with me, go to my website, chiantilomax.com, to book some time to catch up. Also, one more thing, if you are an aspiring coach or a new coach, I'm hosting a private intensive to help a very, 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 very small group of people So men, you're also invited. I know I typically work with women to design their signature coaching program. So with my own industry tested blueprint. So I get a lot of questions about my coaching journey. I've been doing this since 2015. And so I've packaged everything into a 4-hour boot camp that will take place over the weekend, because I know during the week it's tough for a lot of folks, where you can unleash or think about or write a strategy for how to unleash your own expertise, attract your dream clients, and boost some income. You might get some coins along the way. So if you're interested in that, you're new or inspiring coach, DM me the word coach and we'll talk about it. We'll get some time on the calendar and talk about how you can get involved. One more thing, in about 10 minutes, a good friend of mine is going to have her own live show. So she recently launched her own live show called The Clear Reflect Show. Her name is Valencia Taylor, good friend of mine, sorority sister, and I want you to check her out for all things leadership. That's all I have for today. I'll see you next time, the same time, same place. And you know how I like to end this thing in true yogi fashion. The light in me honors, cherishes, and celebrates the light in you. I hope that you go out and create an amazing day. But remember to do it with ease.